How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do the mission called Trailer Stores to unlock, surprise, surprise, the trailer store on, what's it called, Lowlands. The reason I ended up picking this mission first, because you've got like 5 different missions, so you can do like the trailer store, there's one to unlock the truck store, one to unlock the garage slots, one to unlock like repair and refuel, and one to unlock the customization option. Yeah, the reason I went for the trailer store one is just because if I have trailers, I can now repair and refuel everything because I've just got a trailer store in the yard. I quite like the fact that the trailer store's in the yard. I wasn't keen on having to keep driving along on factory grounds to go and visit it. But yeah, if I've got the trailers, I can now fix and repair everything. I can also, like I already do with Lo4fs, kind of leave them dotted around the map. Now I can start getting maintenance trailers, stuff like that, and leave them just in like potentially strategic locations, so when I go to them later on there's like a bit of fuel and repairs and stuff. Yeah, everything else, it was a close call between this and the customization one, sorry, because obviously it's nice to be able to go and mix and match what you've got on your trucks, but to be honest, for the last couple of days I've tended just to travel to, I don't know, Black River or Factory Grounds, whatever, some other region, equip all the trucks, build what I need to build and do what I'm going to do, and then bring them all to Lowlands. So I'm probably going to do the customization mission next. The garage slots I'm not that bothered about. The truck store I'm not desperate for. So yeah, like I said, I settled on this one in the end. And as far as grabbing the cargo and stuff, there's 2 lots of cement and 2 consumables. I could have gone to that other warehouse I just went on quickly for the cement, but there was only 2 lots of cement there. There's 4 lots of cement in the corner warehouse that I've drawn the line to. And then for consumables, there was 2 at that warehouse I just clicked on, but at this port down in like the bottom right hand corner, there's consumables at the top. They've got no number next to them, so it's just unlimited. And it's probably just some like OCD thing, but I want to keep those 2 consumables, and I'll just use the one that's like unlimited. So yeah, I'm going to split both vehicles up here and then drive the Tayga down here along that coastal road really, and then grab the consumables, and then the Phoenix I'm going to send off, sort of, as you can see, the blue line across the map. I was and ahhing for quite a while on which vehicles to actually use for this. I really wanted to use, you can see it behind me, the ANK38 thing, the civilian version. I've been messing around for ages. I've been dicking around all night. I managed to get a loaf on it packed, so I was pretty happy with that. They said it couldn't be done, but it could. We got there in the end. It wasn't easy that to do a few little tricks of the trade to get the loaf packed on there, but yeah, we got him on there in the end. The only thing is I can't have a sideboard on that ANK38 thing, which is a shame because I know you can on the military one, but the military one tips quite easily. I don't know. I've drove that civilian version around. I actually quite like it. I think it's pretty good. I'd definitely say it does feel a lot like the ANK, but fixed, and it's nice at least that it can have a saddle low and so on. But yeah, it's missing the fact that it's not got the sideboard. So again, it's some weird kind of OCD. I've got trailers in my yard at the minute. There's a 2 slot, a scout 2 slot, and then the fuel trailer. I just want to leave them there for some reason. And like I said, there's plenty of other reasons though to get the trailer store unlocked, because then I've got a lot of the times on all kinds of missions, even tonight. I mean, with the in theory, if I had the trailer store, I probably still would have used the civilian ANK38 thing because I could have just got a 2 slot. I didn't really want to though. I was preferring, if I could, just to try and keep it as like a nice tight package. That's what she said. And just not have a trailer and have like, well, you can see both vehicles. Both got a goddamn horse with them, because why wouldn't you? You can see that it's still a bug. When I released the cable, like I was winching them both, the Tayga was still rolling forward a little bit, and it's not just the loaf it does it with, but it is for me, because I just take the loaf everywhere with me. But yeah, there's a perfect example of it near the end of the video. Because the Tayga was still rolling, it like locks the loaf just in place in sort of context to the entire game. And then yeah, as you roll forward, it just kind of like phases out the back of your sideboard, and then that's the end result. But he's goddamn professional. He's hanging in there. He's still packed, even though both his tyres are hanging over the back. So I just thought I'd sort that quickly. But that little shortcut there, that's part of the reason I went this way. You can just follow the road round, and it's not going to be an insane amount of time you'd lose or gain either way. I'm not going to lie, I quite like this little route. It's a nice little test going up that hill. And as I go round the tree, I forgot to mention it, when I was going through specifically with the Phoenix, as the Phoenix was leaning over, the Lo4f was like bumping into the tree as well, and like I said, it helps not catch as much on it and stuff, so that worked out pretty well. But yeah, like the bridges out back there, I did see someone in the comments, which I'm going to reply to soon, by the way. I've just been getting behind with everything, so I'm kind of chasing my own tail at the minute. But I've read through them, I'm planning on replying to them. Yeah, someone was saying I think they put the bridge building mod over that broken bridge behind me, really, that I just kind of went round the left of. So yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. Again, I'll do a playthrough on this with mods. I probably won't touch the mods for a week or two, just to give everyone time to repatch them and all the rest of it. I still want to do a review on that Roadrunner vehicle as well. Well, I think there was Fox and a couple of them built that one, but yeah, I still want to get around to that as well. So I've not even got that far from the garage really by now, but yeah, splitting them both in half. I didn't want to go road training all over the map, and like I said, in theory I could have made this a bit easier for myself. Like I could have gone to that first warehouse I kind of looked at when I was on the map, and yeah, just grabbed the 2 cement. But to be honest, it was because this is one of the first missions I've done. It was just quite a good excuse to travel around the map and just see what the terrain is saying, see what's going on. The fact that this warehouse is like right in the top left corner, it also sways off quite a lot from like the highway road and all that. I have to go along a lot of muddy tracks, this sort of bit as well. It's quite handy actually. There's basically a road, I mean, yeah, probably in quotes, cutting like right through the middle of the map, so you can kind of get from one side to the other quite easily, even though you've got this big fat river all the way. You can see though with the current, I already predicted this, on the way back it'd probably be a bit quicker. They're definitely, it feels more artificially noticeable in the last few phases, so it's not this one in particular, but you know how you can sort of tell that the coding for each terrain just, it changes coding, and that completely changes the characteristics of the truck. And it's like as soon as you hit these muddy sections, it doesn't matter what vehicle you're in, what tyres you've got, how strong your engine is, everything, it's just, it automatically reduces it to like a certain speed limit, like, oh, you can only go 3 miles an hour in this kind of mud. Doesn't matter, yeah, like I said, what vehicle, whether it's good, bad, in between. Maybe if you've got like a terrible stock vehicle it gets stuck, but for all the general best trucks in the game, they all seem to just, yeah, it's like it's just artificially getting placed into a separate category for like, oh, this is just how fast you're allowed to go on that type of terrain. But it's not the end of the world. I think one of the bigger things driving across here is I'm generally going against the current of the river. And again, I still do like the fact that there is resistance to the current. The only thing I wish they'd change is, like I said, there's kind of one size fits all current strength, like whether the water's 1 foot deep or 6 foot deep, it's just the same. I wish they'd do like a low, medium and strong current or something for like different depths of water. Probably not going to happen, I certainly wait to hold my breath, but yeah, that's the only thing I'd probably change, because there is times where you're driving against the current, but yeah, you're only in like a 6 inches to a foot of water, which is like, it's not really gonna, there's not enough resistance there with the flow of a river that's really gonna make all that much difference. So you can see now though, starting to get off like, well, I suppose I was already crossing a river, but yeah, getting onto boggier roads, kind of more off-road freestyling going on, which is now why I was just cutting along the right hand side there. I should have just gone round to the left there. I panicked at the last second. I think they're just rocks, but I thought they might be tree stumps. Again, I've got like PTSD for bloody tree stumps. Until they add something where we can kill them. And they are definitely the enemy. And obviously when I get here as well and grab the cement, I'm going to have to get the Lo4f out, but we have ways and means. See, even got colour coded. See, like here's a good example now, in fact. I can't see what's underwater. There might be a couple of rocks, I might have got wedged on one at a bit of an awkward angle, but generally you can see the current, the flow of the water is just smashing against me, and that just, yeah, it's pretty, it makes sense when you're in 6 foot odd of water, but yeah, when you're not in as much, it is a little bit on the aggressive side for how shallow some of the water can be. But this is why I entered from the left, and then at least if I have to turn, I generally, in this case, I'm going to turn right, and you can see the current is almost carrying my truck sideways. Like if I entered from the right, I'm going to have to steer left even more into the current. So just for what it's worth, if you enter in the water like that, always try and enter upstream, if that makes sense, or if it's on a bit of an angle, just, you know, whatever makes more sense, because at least then you can steer into it and have like the current kind of assist you steering rather than trying to go against it. And yeah, it was looking a little bit sketchy at first. It was again, you can see little rocks there to the left of me. It could be something like that I was just getting stuck on, but it was looking pretty close on that first section. After that, it was not too bad, to be honest. I apologise, I think there was a little glitch there. For the most part, I think it's actually been pretty good tonight, touch wood, for not glitching. And sections like that, I enjoy driving across, but yeah, just the insane slowness is, it's not bad, it's just a little bit boring. It's one of them again where you're just squeezing the throttle and just kind of staring at the horizon, waiting for things to hurry up. But that's one of the reasons I did bring the Phoenix tonight, because like I said, I wanted to use the A&K, but I couldn't. The Forester I've got, but that only has the login thing on the back. There's no way of putting a sideboard or anything like that, which I can see why it's a Forester, but I didn't see where the harm would really come from just letting us put that on the back. But yeah, I can't do that. And then the Tayga, new Tayga thing they've added, I've not unlocked yet. From what I hear, that's going to be unlocked on the second map, and I think you've got to do quite a few missions for it. This is how little attention I was paying at this point. I got here and I honestly just, yeah, I'm like thinking about everything but what I'm doing on the game. I'm just autopiloting what I'm doing on the game. Lo4f even gets out of there flawlessly. Goddamn professional. Yeah, I thought I was at the warehouse thing that I'm heading to, and it was, I think, well, not even now, it was when I stick metal beams in there and then I'm trying to press left and right on the D-pad, and I was like, what, why is it not let me scroll through, where's cement? And then it suddenly dawned on me that, oh yeah, crap, I'm at the metal frame building thing. Which again, I'm glad there's quite a few of them, because there's a mission, I think it was for the customise the garage actually, where I need metal beams and metal rolls. I found where the metal rolls will be, or there's a couple of places that have got them. For the metal beams, yeah, I don't know whether to poach these factory buildings or not. Again, it's some weird, like, I kind of want to keep them and I'll just use the materials out the warehouses. But then if that's limited as well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that was like a slight change of plans. I didn't even need to jump the Lo4f out either. And yeah, sorry, what I was saying though is one reason I did bring the Phoenix is as this map's pretty big and I was drawing a line from the garage to about as far across the map as I can go. It was like the top right corner. I might have said left earlier. Yeah, top right corner. This thing's just really nice in high gear. There was a little edit there, that was from me. You can see my tyre marks. I started to go off to the right and it just instantly was like, there was less trees and all the rest. I was just like, sorry, I hit reverse pretty quick and just started going left instead. I could actually stick a lot like left along here, and I should have and would recommend that. As you can see where my blue marker is, there's a mission that I just wanted to collect while I was going past, so I'll kind of edit most of that bit out, because sadly again this bit's just a bit of a slow boggy mess. And again, it doesn't really bother me, because at least this makes more sense in the game if you look at the actual area. I should imagine in real life it'd be a nightmare. Like, you'd need some pretty hefty truck to just cruise through this sort of stuff, so I don't mind it, but it's just not my cup of tea really. It doesn't float my boat. I'm not having the time of my life right now. I'm just squeezing the throttle, probably flicking through YouTube trying to find a video to put on or something like that. So what I'm going to do now, and what you should do with them, is start driving off to the left now. See that snow in sort of the top left corner? Head towards that. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly grab this mission, but like I said, I edited most of it out. I didn't even see what I need to do for the mission. I'm assuming tow that thing somewhere. What is it? Scout 800 or something. You can probably tell from the time of day on the game that it took a while. It was just painfully slow driving through there. Even low range diffs on. I can't remember if the Phoenix is like, I think it might be a little bit awkward sometimes getting stuck in places, but I didn't want to bring the Zik 605R or whatever it's called again, because I think I've used that for a lot of the exploration video and yesterday's video. And like I say, I just couldn't really pick anything. The Tayga I ended up using, which I'll be driving around in a mo, is we've got the new Tayga unlocked, so I just wanted to drive the Tayga. I rarely use the Tayga for some reason, even though it's really good. It's still definitely not as good as. Like, I'm not saying this to go and watch my review video on the Tayga, but just when I made the review video on the Tayga was so far back nearer the beginning of the game. The thing was an absolute monster. Even on Northport, I drive it just sort of freestyle up the snowy mountain. I didn't go like the way that has a little track or anything. The thing was just eating its way through snow. It was an absolute monster. It's still bloody good today, but it does feel like it's had the edge taken off. But everything does to a degree, because like I said, I think they might have background nerfed a lot. But anyway, we got here. It was pretty easy after that little swampy section. Yeah, grabbed 2 cement, so there's still 2 left in there. I don't ever know if I'll need to use them or not, but I don't know. It's just kind of what I end up doing, to be honest. I've said it before, I think, but I did it on games like Elder Scrolls Oblivion, where I just hoarded everything for the entire game and I never use anything. Yeah, so now in the Tayga, drive down there. When you get to here, it's best to just cut across the river there, and then yeah, follow the little sort of coast road around or whatever. Grab my consumables. Which again, you can see there's some limited cargo in there, but quite a lot of the things haven't got numbers next to them, so they'll just be unlimited, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, I ended up doing the same like I said on Oblivion and that. By the end of the game, where I've completed like the main quest and all the rest of it, I've got every piece of nice armour and shield and swords and bows and arrows and everything, but I'm still using all the crap. I'm using like wooden arrows, but I'm saving all the, what was it, like Daedric arrows? Don't even know if that's how you say it. There was like some green emerald looking arrows, silver arrows, everything that was good I just hoard, and I think, yeah, well, I might need it later. It might come in handy, and then well, it's not that it never does. It would have come in handy millions of times. I just hoard it like a beast, and then yeah, sit on it and never use it. I get to the end of Call of Duty games, and I've got as many grenades, maximum capacity, everything, just because I refuse to use it in case I need it one day. But again, I have said it before as well. If anyone played games in the 90s. Games had a habit of like, you'd get something and be like, oh, that's cool, I'll use it, and then 48.5 hours later, where there's no possible way, you get to a point where it's like, oh, that thing I used 48.5 hours ago, turns out I need it, so I'll have to just quit and restart the whole entire game. I think it started from that, so now I just cautiously hoard everything. So even though it doesn't really make any odds, I am travelling extra distance to go and get some consumables. But maybe later on there'll be a mission that it just works out where, because especially for making videos as well, this video I did want it, to be honest, to be in like 39, just under 40 minutes, but it's gone a little bit over. It is what it is. Yeah, I could have gone to that first easier warehouse, and then I could have just literally gone down the road. I just drove past the warehouse that I could have got the consumables from. But yeah, maybe later on there'll be another mission that, you know, might be more like an hour's worth of footage, and I can just nip somewhere and grab them consumables and make it sort of save 10 minutes and all that. So it works out pretty nicely, and again, it was because this map's new, it was just a good excuse to go driving around the map, really, try some vehicles. This is definitely like an OG classic beast vehicle, really, the Tayga. And the Phoenix, I have to say, it's definitely not objectively the best vehicle in the game, but it is pretty good. I think they did pretty well with the Phoenix. It just feels pretty fun to drive, and with a high range and all the rest of it, it's like, it is quite good, quite a good laugh driving along the even on the awkward roads. I don't know what the hell I hit there. Nothing. Someone just lost a dog in the 5th dimension. Someone with ears capable of hearing what we can't just heard. Arr! So yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there, but classic Tayga likes to find damage where there is none. And driving along here, I could go both ways. Where I was just coming out of the water, yeah, that's what she said. I could have gone off to the left or the right. I just wanted to drive along there for the view. Again, they've nailed it pretty well with the view on this. I've not really been on the yellow brick road thing, so I don't know what the view is like on that, but this is definitely, I think, a pretty good looking map. And so far, it's still, well, it's probably a little bit later than first impressions. I like doing that in the Tayga. Go flat out, drop it in reverse, and it'll just do a nice little skid, tighten up your turning circle. Yeah, I still, I quite like this map, even after tonight driving through. Like I said, just when I got that cement, I certainly could have made life easier for myself, but overall it feels pretty well balanced map. I'd say put it in the ballpark of kind of like Michigan and Wisconsin, which I suppose probably fits in well with the like various American states, but yeah, it doesn't feel as punishing. And there is certainly sections, that seems to be the nature of this game. Considering how bad they could be, and how bad they have been with certain maps, I think they've kind of got the point with this map that so far it's been, yeah, more enjoyable than annoying, which is the right side of things. I was down here in this port like hours before this footage with a civilian ANK and a loaf and just smashing into car. I don't know, it was like I blanked out for 10 minutes and just, well, I don't blank out, I knew exactly what I was doing. I just was like, again, autopilot mode. I thought I was on Grand Theft Auto 5, I think. I was just ramming everything. Yeah, that's definitely what she said. Yeah, the loaf, I decided that he's a goddamn professional. I didn't really want to leave him behind at this point. I could obviously just winch him behind me, but eventually I'm going to build a road train situation, and then I'd have to leave him somewhere. I could have left him at this warehouse, really, as just like a little strategic loaf, as you do. He'll have repairs and fuel and all the rest of it. But yeah, it is what it is. Like I say, he's a goddamn horse. He earned it. He likes this new map. He likes the views, so he's coming along for the return journey. But as you can see, that's how simple it was to keep a loaf going with you, even if you're putting cargo in. You can still fit on top of that cargo. He's bouncing around and have a good old time. Let's stub his dick on the cargo if he keeps going like that. Just remember, I've got wood. So there's a semi-trailer there with, I assume, was 5 planks of wood. That's one thing with the Tayga. The steering's very, it kicks in pretty sharpish on it. I quite like it, but it's yeah, quite quick. But it doesn't drift like, a good example is the Voronggrad. The Voronggrad stays quite planted and it drifts. This thing can get a little bit, it'll snap the front steering quite quickly, and then the back end will kind of go to drift, but then it'll dig in and go a bit boaty. I admit, with a loaf flapping around on the top of the cargo, probably, well, I don't know, he's a weightless loaf, he only weighs anything when he wants to. So he was probably assisting the situation, to be honest. You see now, it's bits like this where, for one, I still think they need to improve the grip of these custom muds. But yeah, I just don't really get much out of going 1 mile an hour. But if it's going to happen, I still don't think they've took the piss with it in this game, and it's still happening in sections that are kind of, I mean, now it's only a few more mile an hour one. I actually think part of it is, like I said, it's sort of slower to introduce the power, so you have these little, it's like having a flat spot in a gear. It kind of feels like that keeps happening at the start every time you like reintroduce the power. But yeah, all things considered, they've definitely not took the piss with it. They've not put snow here, there and everywhere that's automatic death snow. For the most part with the mud, there is the odd section of death mud, but mostly it's normal trails like this with some super mud thrown in. But compared to what we've been used to, and at least these days we've got certain better vehicles like the Zik 605Rs, definitely. Objectively it's pretty decent. It's still not my favourite vehicle though. I do use it quite a lot because it's just, it makes, if you use a Zik 605R, it just works at what it's supposed to do and supposed to be, so you can just enjoy other aspects of the game. When you're with a truck that's a little bit sketchy, you've not got time to enjoy the views and this and that. You're just too busy like panicking over like, oh no, this truck's gonna bite me at some point. I know it will. Well, again, one of the many reasons, get yourself a loaf, take him with you, and then the game has a much harder time of trying to bite you. Like I said, he's like a little Super Mario mushroom. You get an extra life. And so far, touch wood, that's all I've needed. Still got his 100% rescue record. He's 6 phases in and he's still going. Can he make it to the end of season 2? I don't know what my money will be on. Goddamn right he can. He's not a goddamn professional for no reason. Yeah, and that title. Earned it and then some. But yeah, this little part of the mission was again pretty cool. I nearly was going to bring the International Transstar because it's a highway vehicle, but having to cut across that little river section, all the rest of it, I knew would be a little bit, probably a bit much. And I've already kind of not bitten off more than I can chew, but a nice hefty chunk from taking the Phoenix to like the top corner. So I decided against the Transstar. Hopefully there'll be a mission at some point that I can incorporate it into. It's cool that they've added raised suspension because it always had small tyres, but they need all-wheel drive really. Basically, I could have doubled back on myself. I've decided to drive along this blue line I've done, and then I'm just going to have to try and cut through the trees here somewhere. Just because, one, I didn't really like that swamp section, two, it'll allow me to uncover a little bit more of the map, like get rid of the shaded fog or whatever. And yeah, it was just to see what it's like. From what I'd say now, it's not the end of the world, but it probably would have been easier to just double back on myself. But yeah, I've got no regrets. Like I said, it's a chance to uncover a bit more of the map, see what's going on down here, see what the terrain is like. Which again, overall, even the snowy sections like there, it's not all automatic death snow, which I quite like, because it just starts to get annoying after a while. And that level of snow that's only going to be a matter of inches deep, it's not severe enough that I think that's pretty realistic for how fast I'm travelling over little patches of snow like that. The old Lo4f's having a good old time. See, it was all going so well, and then it was this kind of section. I'll be honest, I don't know whether I would have been best off just driving straight through the water or not. I've got a feeling I wouldn't, because you can kind of see to the left of me there's a tree branch going in the water. That's basically, I mean, I'm driving this slow, there's not really a lot. Do you see what I mean with how obvious it is that the coding kind of switches over to a different terrain and it's just automatically... God damn it, phone. Did that same noise again. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, I drove along the bank to try and stick to like normal ground that's a bit more solid. There, I just edited it. You can see I've jumped forward a little bit. All I did for the last minute or two, I didn't edit loads out, but it's just as far as the video goes, it's just extra minutes that are not really needed. Yeah, you can just see loads of branches and everything underwater, and I keep getting stuck on them, and it's one of them where you'll stick the winch to something and pull, and then you just see it kind of like spring into action and disappear. The tree stumps, tree log things or whatever just phase through the floor after that. It was just doing that to me 3 or 4 times where I was getting caught on stuff. And yeah, it was just a bit of a slow, boring section. That's why I'm saying it was probably time-wise, just doubling back on myself probably would have... I don't know though, because then that swampy section you can see there was doable, just boring and slow as well, so I don't know. Kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But either way, it still isn't a brutal map. But it's certainly not as simple and stuff as, say, like, yeah, Black River and Michigan. But it was never going to be, because, as I said, we've got better trucks these days and that, so got more upgrades. I nearly, as well, used the twin steer tonight, but I think it's for the customization mission. Oh, I need 4 metal rolls and then 2 metal beams. That's going to be 4 slots of cargo, so I'll probably end up cracking it out for that, because, as I said, I nearly did today, and I just thought in the end I only need 2 slots of cargo. As I said, I would have liked to have used the civilian ANK. Well, the civilian ANK and the Forester would have been pretty good. The Forester, to be fair, I don't know, I probably would have sent that on the route the Tayga went on. It's fine, it's like, obviously it's got the advanced special gearbox, so it's a little bit slower. The civilian ANK I do actually quite like a lot. It's got quite a nice pace to it. Everything, it just feels like a pretty good truck, so as long as it doesn't do anything too crazy, it's probably going to make it up there in my kind of general favourite vehicles. It's a biggie that it's not got a sideboard though. That just, yeah, I don't think that was a good idea. I don't really see why it shouldn't have one. Long story short, when I was cutting through these trees, I didn't even realise there's like a big fat cliff I've got to jump off. You can see how much lower down that house is. I didn't have a whole lot of options. I could have reversed and everything, to be honest. Just kind of half stubbornness. I was like, well, I'm going off the cliff then. And yeah, so that was my plan of action. What I should have done and could have done was started veering to the left a bit more. The cliff kind of ends. And you see, here's a prime example. If I had a loaf packed on there, I could have made the loaf touch the tree, and then I wouldn't have got my sideboard hooked on it. But it's not the end of the world. Just stick a winch on it, stick it to a tree over there. I had it 30 seconds out there. I was just reversing, driving forward, trying to jiggle my sideboard off that tree just so that I'd miss it. So I can do that, drop down the cliff. It got very close. Credit to the Phoenix, it was very close to tipping there, but it kind of, I think it started leaning its sideboard into the ground a bit as well. I flung some panic winches out. I don't really know if they did a whole lot. Something flashing on the floor there, probably a mole. Moles are arseholes. But yeah, all things considered, it went pretty well. I was hoping, as long as it doesn't flip and flip the cargo out, because then I'd have to bring something with a crane just to get it back in. I'm not going to lie, I probably would have considered save the footage, quit and reload just to give it another go, but that was genuinely first time. First time works every time. The loaf is just goddamn professional, so he skips down there like it's nothing. And we're good to go again. Which, like I said, if I doubled back on myself, I would have popped out on this road I'm now sort of connecting back up to. I just over swerved there a little bit, well, to avoid like the water and all that crap as well. Take that tree. See, and again with the coding, see how as soon as I hit this section, it's just like straight back to, it's just, I'm going downhill with the wind behind me, full cargo, a strong truck, top engine, etc. But now, even though it's kind of the current's coming from right to left, but it's kind of going diagonally, where at least I'm slightly, it's in my favour going this way, and as you can see, it's still just as slow kind of going the same way because you have them sort of speed limits, but it's definitely a lot easier. I'm like squeezing the throttle now and it's just fine. It doesn't feel like it's about to get stuck. And then this section coming up now is when I was coming the other way, I had to reverse out of and give it another go, and you can tell now just the difference. It's not really the current carrying me, doesn't help as much as it punishes you when it's against you. And it gets pretty deep there. Yeah, that's what she said. One thing I do like though that we have got these days is because I'm towing the loaf, all I have to do is press square to turn the engine on and off, and I don't think the loaf would have took any damage there because just about the only thing sticking out of the water then was the snorkel. He knows his measurements, he knows what he needs, but yeah, I turned the engine off anyway and then turned it back on afterwards. I do quite like that feature. I think that works out pretty well. I just seriously wish they'd change it back to where when you're pulling something in with the winch, especially that we can turn the engine off and on, if we put the engine on, it should drive and pull the winch at the same time. Because if we wanted it to do one or the other, we could just kill the engine and do it that way, so I don't really see what the problem is. I think they might have taken that option away as like a little bit of a nerf, really, which is just more like, yeah, because I think we're all used to it, the way it used to work, and especially I'm pretty certain it did the same on MudRunner as well, so that's how I always remember it. And then now, I was trying to drop the hammer just for that last sec after I jumped off that little cliff bit. I knew I was running out of fuel. I mean, again, that's why I bring a loaf. Long story short, there's no way I would have got this mission done with the Phoenix on its own without the loaf, because I just would have run out of fuel. Definitely, and to be fair to this thing's credit as well, even if I took like the Dolphin or something, I don't know, but that would have been a close call even with a loaf. I could have took like set up a long-range Dolphin to take a scout fuel trailer. Oh no, I can't actually, because I'm unlocking the trailer store as we speak, so. But yeah, that's why for the last minute or two I was just purely high gear, dropping the hammer as fast as I could, just to see how much distance I could cover and get back. But yeah, switch to the loaf, stick the roof rack's fuel in, and sometimes I'll just take the loaf's fuel instead of the roof rack. The reason I took the roof rack fuel is basically, you'll see in a minute, like then when I access the Lo4f, if I wanted to now, I don't have to switch from the Phoenix to the Lo4f to get to the roof rack. I can just take fuel from the Lo4f even when I'm still in the Phoenix. It'd be nice if it offered you other vehicles, roof racks and stuff as well, but it's not the end of the world. You just have a bit of a more longer drawn out way of going through the motions to get the fuel transferred. You see, and again here, going back across this river, like this massive river section, it still feels like you've got the speed limits imposed on like this section of mud and all the rest of it, but especially now, like the current's going with me, it's just definitely easier. Even now, as slow as I'm going, you can just sort of tell I'm not having to steer left and right and trying to jiggle and wiggle my way. I still think it does work how it used to on MudRunner, where they called it dynamic grip. So as you're steering, I believe you get a slight little grip boost just for putting in the effort of steering left and right and kind of fighting around to try and find grip. I do believe it helps a little bit, but I don't know. I couldn't quantify how much it does or even if it does. That's just gut feeling. So all in all though, it's gone pretty well for this mission. And it was a good little test run, like I say, cutting across the map, going on like all little sort of back roads, I suppose, really, rather than the highway bits. And yeah, it did pretty well. The Phoenix held up well enough. The fuel, I mean, that's what this thing's got, is it 375 litres or something? So if I took something like the Dolphin, I should imagine... The Dolphin's obviously got 200, not 375, but it makes more use of that 200. Got back here, it was at this point that I realised, oh god damn, I'm going to have to leave Orange Lo4f behind because, yeah, I'm going to have to road train the Tayga and the Phoenix. So for some reason I went a long-winded way about it, but flipped the Lo4f on its roof. I was like, aha, I know what you're doing, Lo4f. I know what he's up to. He had the same idea as me. See, he's goddamn professional. There's one fat sit-up, that's all we need. We don't like to leave a man behind, we don't like to leave a Lo4f behind. Well, unless I want to, unless he's a strategic Lo4f. That's different. That's when he's on the job. But yeah, he's on. Why not? Still got repairs, even though it's extremely unlikely I'll need them. And I also do have a Lo4f on the Tayga, but stubbornness is a wonderful thing. Jobs are good and now I feel better. Otherwise, I'd mentally beat myself up for the next few hours. Right now, I mean, you can see the line I've drawn. I was just kind of like, shall I veer off to the right and just see what it's like over that way? Long story short, I did exactly that. The way I've drawn with the blue line, it was just cutting across what will now be the right of that bridge that's broke. But yeah, I just kind of figured, new map, want to keep exploring, see what's going on. Overall, veering off to the right where I do now, is not a bad option. I don't know if it's objectively the quickest option. It's probably flatter and less risky maybe, I don't know, well you'll see. I say flatter, I mean it's a bit of a rally course going along here. And again now, I could veer off to the left, see that little patch of trees, I could kind of make the gap and pop out just a bit further down from that broken bridge, or go off to the right, which I'm going to choose to do, and basically connect back up with the main road and just enter the yard from like the main entrance, or one of what appears to be the mainest of main entrances. Getting a bit of a lean on there, but you can see, Lo4f, told you he's weightless. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to suck his gut in. But the fact that I'm rallying all over here, and my Phoenix and Lo4f hasn't tipped, and my Tayga and Lo4f hasn't tipped, which, yeah, I'm not even driving the Tayga, or I can't steer into it with the bumps and all the rest of it. So the fact that they're not tipping is, yeah, driving this way can't be that bad. You can hear loads though, the like air burst of like whatever, it's changing gear and that, because the lack of revs kicking in recently, like, you can hear it all the time. It's kind of trying to fight between going first gear and second and all the rest of it. There's another reason that it was just nice to use the Phoenix for the most part. This rallying along here, I don't really want to be in high gear anyway, because it's only going to take one awkward bounce. But yeah, I just keep trying to go for high gear as much as I can, because that's one of the gears that is the least affected from like the lack of power input. The high gear's always been pretty immediate and responsive, and about as good as you're going to get from whatever truck you're in. Whatever, if it's got a crap rev range, it's not going to be amazing, but high gear is always, I don't know, as close to what I would like it to drive like anyway. See, there's a perfect example. When I disconnected the Tayga, it just instantly locks the Lo4f in place, like in space, time and space Lo4f, and then yeah, the Tayga can still keep rolling. Why did that just remind me of, what was it, Space Ghost? I remember that as a kid. I'm sure someone will remember that. I'm still waiting for someone to remember Button Moon. Can't just be me. Good old Mr. Spoon. Yeah, again, it's just sheer stubbornness, but you know, gotta have some healthy hobbies. Yeah, long story short, I didn't try, this was like just as I'm doing it now, I didn't learn this the hard way, but I have ages ago. Sometimes if you're dropping cargo off and you've got a Lo4f or anything else sat on top of it, it can make your cargo disappear. I didn't want to take the risk, hence why I just got the Lo4f completely off. I've definitely done it plenty of times where I have left a Lo4f on the top and it's dropped the cargo off just fine, all the rest of it. But rarely, once or twice, it's bit me. And if it bit me now, I'd be doing the quit and reload method. But if it double bit me and the saving cogs came up on, yeah, above the handbrake, I'd be screwed. I'd have to go all the way back to that place to get another cement. And as they're limited cargo, yeah, I didn't even want to risk it. So I got the Lo4f off, delivered it, and yeah. As you can see though, Lo4f's goddamn professional. We tipped him up, dropped the cargo off, got him back in the sideboard, so ready to go again. And same thing with this really, get a little animation, doesn't really lock it and build it all together and all the rest of it, just suddenly bam. Reload. I'm joking, of course, we all know it's pronounced reload. Yeah, trailer store, you can see as well, there's like all loads of little trailers parked in there, which looks pretty cool. As for money wise, 9,800. To be fair, I mean, it's not Wisconsin levels of good payout, it'd probably be near a 20 grand odd if that was the case. 10 grand's not bad though. All I had to do was go and get 2 lots of cargo, and I made both journeys longer than they needed to be, so that's actually pretty decent money. 1,000 XP, that's odd, that's great, but it doesn't really do anything for me these days. I've been on level 30 for like the last year and a half odd. But yeah, overall, pretty good mission, pretty enjoyable. I'm glad I got the trailer store, because like I said, now I can just fix everything, repair everything, refuel everything, leave fuel things dotted around the map, leave repair things dotted around the map, all sorts of stuff, van repair, body things and all that. Yeah, so worked out pretty well. Like I said, for this next one, tomorrow, possibly, it's just time-wise. If I've got time, I'd like to do a review, and then Saturday will be the live stream, and then Sunday possibly another mission or something. Like I said, the customization one will definitely be the next one on my list. I can live with waiting for garage slots and the truck store. Got to get it nice and lined up, or enough anyway, close enough, otherwise it'll freak me out. Yeah, that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a Lo4f, because he's a goddamn professional as usual. The Tayga and Phoenix were pretty good. And yeah, I'll be back soon.